All right, wonderful. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Let's go ahead and begin. So I want to start with just a quick heart centering, heart opening, grounding. So welcome, everyone. Let's go ahead and close our eyes and begin. Oh, sorry. Taking in a deep breath and relaxing, enjoying. Letting go any thoughts, worries, tensions, busyness of the morning. And Betty Ann, I'm not sure what you're doing, but it's very distracting and noisy. So I'm going to mute everyone.
I'm going to mute it.
Invite everyone to smile. Good. And then we're going to take a couple of fingers from our left or right hand, whichever is most natural and comfortable for you. We're going to touch our heart right in the center of our chest, right about armpit level. And without thinking how or why, just begin to smile to our hearts. Wonderful, relaxing, getting to feel the light, gentle feeling flowing from our chest, right where we're touching. And letting our hearts realize this light, gentle feeling is the direct connection to the source of all life, all love. I like to call it true source. And that this light, gentle feeling is the unconditional love from true source. And without us doing anything, just relaxing, enjoying, allowing that light, gentle feeling to flow more and more out in front of us, around us, to the left and the right, all the way behind us, above us and below us, till our heart is smiling in every direction. So that our brains, our minds, and our hearts are synchronized and connected. And that our hearts are connected to our whole spirit, soul, and whole being. So that all of us shows up here, increasing our intuition, increasing our presence, increasing our wisdom, our intelligence, just bringing more joy, more awareness into our experience. I invite you to stay relaxed and stay smiling. You can gently allow your eyes to open and your hand to rest on your lap. And thanks for joining me, everyone, on that little exercise. I'm going to unmute everyone. Everyone's still muted. And last week, I invited you guys to do an exercise, just starting with, and I invite everyone to have a piece of paper or something they can write with or record with. Dr. J, I'm not sure your best method for that, but whatever works for you, so you can take notes. And just tuning in again to whatever brought you to this mastermind today, whatever goal or outcome or potential challenge that you're experiencing that you would like, feedback and insight into and support with. And I'd like you to, first of all, imagine what the ideal solution would feel like or look like or operate for you. So again, if you have a goal, what the ideal scenario of that goal already manifests and working in your life looks like, feels like, operates like, you experience it as, or if it's a challenge, a possible solution. So if that problem or challenge were solved, what would be the outcome of that? What would it be? What would your life and experience look like instead? And just imagine for a few moments and allow for whatever ideas, variables, pieces come to you to flow. And I invite you to record them. So basically your ideal situation would be a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. And write down whatever comes. And then I invite you to tune into your present moment reality based on your situation. And again, on a scale of 1 to 10, I want to invite you to give it a number where you are with it right now. And list the reasons why you give it that number. And not the challenges, but the things that are actually working in your favor for that number. So if it's even a 1, there's something, even if it means you're showing up to this mastermind, that you're doing or is contributing towards your moving in that direction and is working for you. And then last question to tune into is whatever number you came up with for your present situation, I'd like you to ask the question, what next action could I take? Or what would be the next milestone, right? The next level. So for me, it was like a 3. So what's the next action I could take, or the next milestone? What would it look like to be at one number above what you currently rated? So if I rated a 3, what action could I take that would make my reality a 4 this week? And write that down. Awesome. If you didn't get anything, you can put a question mark. We'll come back to it. And then what I'd like to do now is to go round robin, and I'll lead with the format. And then what we'll do is we'll share what we wrote. And then you can ask any question you want for feedback as well on what a 4 would look like, or even a 10, or some other additional ideas based on your current goal or challenge that you'd like feedback on. So for me, of course, it's building my clients and getting more referrals. So my ideal is that I have, really awesome referrals coming to me for coaching clients. And that ideally I'm having, 2 complimentary coaching sessions a day, strategy sessions with really awesome people who are really coachable, that I have great chemistry with. They've got great projects that they're working on. They're excited to get some support and insight in that on a regular basis and commit to a longer term coaching relationship, and that they've got the money to invest, and that, you know, a year commitment to working with me is something easy and they're excited about doing. And that I have 10 to 1-to-1 coaching clients that are like that. Right now, I'm giving myself a 3 because I have 3 awesome clients that I really love and enjoy working with. And I have a path in the sense of a formula that I'm working, which is basically being in conversation with people on a daily basis. And of course, BNI as well, you know, developing my leadership and tech skills and group skills and team managing skills as part of that, as well as I continue to expand into doing either a group coaching format in the future, which may include some masterminding, or teaching some of the skills that I have to support people in their businesses in different ways and balancing their lives. And so a 4 for me this week is scheduling 1 coaching conversation per day, where ideally I'd like to get to 2. Right now it would be 1 a day. And then I'm actively, you know, reaching out to people I already know and connecting with people I haven't talked to in a while that I really want to catch up with. So that's my best idea for this week, is to schedule that time and reach out to at least 1 person and schedule 1 a day. My question for my masterminding this week revolves around this as well in relation to BNI is, you know, I do the weekly planner each week to kind of plan my talk, my presentation. And I've been tuning into, you know, what's the best thing that I can share, you know, that's going to connect with people that they can hear and relate to, that would inspire them to at least, you know, join me for a, you know, a 1-to-1, you know, coaching session, complimentary session, or to send someone to me. And so my question for you guys is, what do you feel is like some of the most common things for you that if you had a coach or someone who could support you in, that you would want help with, that you'd want coaching with? Because I'm trying to just get a common thread and ideas that would resonate with both our BNI members and from you personally. So you can just share from your personal experience as opposed to guessing what other people would want, or that, you know, unless you know someone who does want coaching and what they want coaching for. But that's my question, and I'd love some feedback on that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. So we've got time today. We've got 45 minutes. So let's do like 8 minutes each. I'm putting the timer on. Basically, we should have about, you know, 10 minutes each with the whole share. I went a little long. So I'll make mine a little shorter. I'll do 7 minutes. All right, y'all. What do you got for me? I see you guys are still muted, so I'm going to unmute you.
Those are not ask my accountant questions, because there's some people that they wrote checks out to and I don't know what is the for. Huh?
I'm sorry, did someone ask a question? Because I don't see them coming up. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone, and if you want to speak, then unmute yourself. And don't all jump in at once.
So I'm looking at reopening the office, and I'm wondering what safety precautions patients would like to see in doctors' offices. My goal is 15 patients, maybe 3 days a week, maybe 3.5 or 4 days a week, depending on what we decide to do. And so right now for the COVID-19 patient care, I'm at number 5, and I'm only seeing 25 patients a week right now. Every 5, split that in half. Every 5 days, I'm seeing 17 patients. And then on the next 5 days, I will see 10 patients and then 17 patients, just trying to cut down on the exposure to other people and keeping things clean and sanitary and safe. I'm still doing things on the front sidewalk, but I'm looking at moving them to the inside. And so wondering what would y'all like to see in places of business that make you feel protected or feel safe, and also to what kind of procedures might y'all take when going out to keep other people safe?
Thanks, Dr. J. That was a great share on what you wanted feedback on, but it was kind of out of turn. So I had presented for myself first as the template, but I was still asking for input on mine before we went to the next person.
Oh, you were asking for input on yours. Okay. Well, then maybe I could help you out by giving your name and phone number to a couple of my patients and asking them, people that own their own businesses, and seeing if they need coaching.
Sure. Yeah, that would be awesome. Do you have any idea, like, and I hear what you were talking about too with the sanitizing. I think that is a big one for people who are reopening their businesses. I think that is a major one that a lot of people are thinking about. So that's a good point, just in what you were sharing for your own business, what you were doing. You think of anything else that people would want coaching on? Have you talked to other people and where they're at, and what they're struggling with or wanting more up to date on?
Well, I know that a lot of the people that I'm thinking about sending your name and number to they're self-employed, and so they have a lot of stress on them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference between going to work every day in an office and working for someone else. That is still stressful, don't get me wrong, but waking up every morning and knowing that it's all on you to earn everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that maybe they could use some help.
Cool.
I think what I would look for, I know that coaching isn't really something that I personally need, but I know that I need teachers. I need someone to teach me things, because it's been a while since I've been in school, and I do podcasts and mind exercises and work mentally all the time, but to have someone to show me something pertinent and informative and educational, to teach me things, show me things, that I open the parts of the world up that I didn't know were there. That would be helpful for me.
Sure. Like when we had our session, we talked about, maybe using an outsourcing portal for your audio.
Yep.
Stuff like that, and give you hands-on teaching on it. Okay. Any other feedback for me, y'all? Ladies, got a minute left. Minute and a half.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I've given your name and to several people. I don't know if anybody's called you. I'm sure if they have, they would have said that I referred you and you would have told me. But I was wondering, are you available for people outside the area as well? Because
Oh, yeah.
I have
I work.
many friends in New York who are really struggling.
Oh yeah, most of my work is remote. Most of my clients are in California.
Oh, okay. So I will definitely, because I shared with them how brilliantly you guided me, and so maybe they might take advantage of your expertise and call you. I will definitely go through that list again and have some people call you.
Thanks, Sally.
You're welcome.
And you know, and maybe we can talk specifically at some point about, you know, how to best maybe make that introduction. We don't have to do that now.
Yeah.
Ellen, you had some feedback. So if anyone has feedback like on my 60-second and anything you would suggest that would improve it or would hit home, that would be great in the sense of coaching or whatever else you have.
So
like
you,
30 seconds.
Talking about what you talked about today. You're asking
Yes.
to do that. Okay. My thought is I have a little issue because my clients are older
Mhm.
and my community here is older, you know, really retiring. And I'm thinking, what do you have, or have you talked to people looking for people who are facing losing their jobs and forcing them to retire and helping them through that transition? That might be something that you could add to your bag of tricks, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
So
Cool.
that would be my thought.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Like that life transition, finding active things that they could still do enjoy, whether it's money making or not, but making that transition to
Right.
retirement, right?
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people, especially if they were working up to, you know, X age, they clearly either liked their job, and for those that like their jobs, it's probably the best. And then how do they find the same kind of satisfaction you do when you're getting feedback and you're in a community of workers? How do they find that again during their retirement?
Awesome. Thank you. All right, y'all, I'm out of time. Dr. J, and if I just go alphabetically, and since Dr. J had already started, let's come back around to Dr. James and see what we can offer. And just to recap what I heard you say, Dr. James, you're planning to reopen the office and you need to get up to speed on safety precautions, how to properly sanitize and disinfect the place. And you want to start transitioning, helping people move from being outside your office to bringing them inside. And what would help us feel safe to be more out in public and in closed spaces? How you could best help us feel safe? Did I summarize that?
Yep.
Yeah, yep. Feel and I mean, I know what I need to do to keep the place clean and sanitary, but it's more of what do y'all feel like would make you feel safe going into a doctor's office or going out and being somewhere?
Yeah, that's great.
I
Yeah,
have-
the girls
Yeah,
have their
I
hands up, so jump in.
because I think your office is also a little different than the doctors I've been to because you have hands-on. So I think that's tricky. But I think for me would be the confidence that not only you're keeping the office so clean, and I could visually see that people wearing masks, you clean off your areas every time somebody comes in, you ask people to take their shoes off, you ask people to wear masks, because I've gone to offices where the clients are not wearing masks and I'm really uncomfortable. I think just those feeling that you are really taking care of me in that way, protecting me, is what would help me. And then I have a doctor and he does some hands-on things for me, and I watch him clean off this, you know, his table and his whatever, and he wears a mask and wears a glove sometimes. I mean, just everything I know of that will be keeping me safe would make me feel comfortable going to your office. That's what I would say. And as far as your knowledge, I wasn't quite clear if you were talking about knowledge of yourself or knowledge of your field. And if it was knowledge of your field, I would think there's a professional association. I don't think those are unique suggestions.
No, I'm a member.
Yeah,
No,
so
I'm
I
a
don't know
member
when
of
you're
the chiropractic association.
when you're saying you needed some or information, I wasn't clear what that was.
Yeah, really, just you answered it perfectly. It's what would make you feel safe, because I want to be because, like I said, I know what I need to do to keep the office clean. It's more of what do y'all feel like you would feel comfortable in a doctor's office like now?
I'll
because
just add,
everybody,
I'll just add one more thing is that I am an older group. So it's kind of more important to me when I walk in something that it feels really clean, and also that you are doing whatever you can for your younger clients to make sure they know that they might, they have to be careful and respectful of your other type of clients. I think that was something else I forgot.
thank you. Yeah, that you actually mentioned one thing that I didn't think about was the shoes, taking shoes off. That was excellent. Thank you, Ellen.
Sally, your hand jumped up too?
Yes, am I muted? Yeah, no.
No.
Yes, what would make me feel comfortable would be that I would be the only patient in there, that there wouldn't be a group in the waiting room, that the patient, whatever the appointed time is the only patient in there. And if you're early, you wait outside until the current patient is finished with your treatment. And also too, wearing masks and gloves. I've seen other doctors' offices where the employees sitting behind the desk are not wearing neither mask or gloves. And I feel that's not very confidence building. And
Yeah,
I
that's
like
not
that.
good.
I like the idea too of like having a big bottle of hand sanitizer sitting on a counter where you can see that it's obviously being used and that people are thoughtful enough to put it out there.
Do you feel that gloves are actually that important as long as the doctor washes his hands or sanitizes them between each patient?
Well, I think you cannot wear the gloves because your hands are the sensitivity that feels everything. I'm not so sure you can feel it through gloves.
I can, not as well though.
But I think just as long as you sanitize or wash your hands in between patients, I think that would be enough because you do the adjustment on the clothing, not on the skin,
On the neck, I do the skin.
on the neck, right?
But there again, washing my hands in between every patient. I mean, I've been scheduling patients 30 minutes apart and having 5-minute interactions with the patient. And then we disinfect and clean everything. It takes 5 minutes for Lysol to kill everything. So, and then we let it air out and good time in between.
Dr. James, we got like 2 more minutes, and I think Betty Ann and I would like to offer up too. Do you want some more input?
Please. Yeah, please. Okay.
So if you respond too much from each person, then it's going to cut into your time. So the other thing additional, I think I'm on board with both what Sally and Ellen said, just really clear on all of your hygiene and what you're doing and let them see it, but also communicating it up front. So have a detailed overview, like in your pre-appointment, like an email you're sending out or communicating over the phone, what you're doing, that you've got a really big sign on the door or on the edge in the window that gives a very clear protocol to everyone, spelling out what you're doing and what they're to do. So not only are they getting an email or a voice call prepping them before they get there, but that it's all spelled out. And yeah, I like the idea of like one person in the place at a time. Please ask them to stay in their car if they're early, and that you'll come and greet them at the door, and things like that. But yeah, just real clear communication up front. If you're not going to wear gloves, and gloves, like you say, you can touch other things. Actually see them, let them see you putting on, using hand sanitizer, as you meet them and as you're going out. So that's what comes up for me.
I was just going to say, you could also give them the choice
Of what?
of you using gloves or not. Some people may feel they want you to touch them. I don't know. It just occurred to me that some people may not care or may not worry about it because you've washed your hands and that kind of stuff. But everything else Damon said I think is great.
Thank you.
We have like 30 seconds more. Betty Ann, do you have anything?
Well, my situation, as you might all know, is different in that we're essential. So all I do is not allow anyone in the office. When I go, I will meet them out on my patio. I have lawn chairs set up, and I wear a mask. If they're bringing me stuff, I put on gloves to take their information from them, just in case there's something still on their paperwork. And you know, I probably might run into some referrals for you, Damon, because I'm getting a lot of calls, online contacts from people who are going into new businesses. So I'll compile a list if I think someone needs definitely coaching, and we'll refer to you on those people.
Awesome. Thanks, Betty Ann. I'd appreciate that.
Mhm.
I'm happy to talk to them. So,
I know.
great. So now I'm going down the list. I'm going to mute everyone again. And next would be Ellen as we go down the alphabetical list. So Ellen, you want to read what you've got so far and what your question is?
Yeah, I think for me as building my business, the ideal situation for me this year, I'm just doing it for even this year because I can't think beyond that, is building clients, 20, love to have 20 by the end of the year. I think the major thing right now to get there is people getting comfortable with me, to know what I'm looking for, to feel comfortable talking about that, to find in themselves, get just knowing me well enough to that the referral is kind of automatic. The steps that I'm taking, I'm doing more one-to-one, a lot of one-to-ones. And I am trying very hard with my power group to get an estate planner. And I also was thinking of getting someone who does wills. That might be somebody else for our power group, because I think that will be really helpful. So getting guests are on my radar. Also just showing up to make sure that I'm participating, because I think, and this I really appreciate some feedback on, is trying to get my message simple enough, but clear enough that what I want, what I need, and that it comes through with a 1 minute, which is always hard. Mm-hmm. So those are my watch my touchstones for a while until I feel comfortable that I'm moving along, that people are available to me and understand. And I also thought I was going to go to more cross chapters. There's not a lot of people with my expertise in different chapters. So that's what I was thinking of.
Okay. And so do you have a specific question for us that you're wanting input or feedback on? Because you shared several things that you're doing.
Yeah. Well, there's I'm talking about I think that down in the main thing I'm talking about is building awareness of what I do and who I am. And so maybe people can give me feedback on the one-to-ones I've had, or the 60 minutes, and might have some ideas about making it easier for people to understand what I do and then more comfortable with referring me.
Okay. Well, I can jump in first. I think I have a grasp of what you do, which is counsel people who are over age 65, right?
65 or over.
65 or over, right? And you help them, educate them, and offer them options for any gaps in their health care other than the Medicaid. So you consult with them maybe on what they already have and how to support them in filling those gaps with supplemental healthcare options.
Okay, so you've got most of it. My target is probably 6 to 7 months out from their turning 65, because that's when they're beginning to plan, or they don't know what's going on. And I think also to go through that, I would take care of enrolling them and going through the whole process of choosing and enrolling. So yes, yes, I mean, you got it pretty well. I help them find the plans that fill the gaps between what Medicare covers and what they need to have covered.
Okay, so what I would suggest is just get as detailed and specific as you can, similar to what you just did. So, and make it a little more interactive to kind of anchor it for people. So say, who do you know who's turning 65 this year? Who do you know whose birthday is turning 65? Raise your hand or think, write someone down, think, write it down. I can help them get signed up. I can talk to them even before they turn 65 and help them learn their options and get to be where they need to be. That would be the first, like, I would make it that detailed, get them to do something, and then introduce you, and then say, please introduce me to these people. Then the other people, when you talk about the estate planner, speak specifically to that one thing. Say, I'm looking for an estate planner or will to join our chapter. Who do you know who's an attorney or an estate planner? And write it down or raise your hand or invite them, please. So keep making those two very specific asks.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, if Ellen, if you'll put an introductory letter together, we can look at handing it to our patients that are coming close to that age. And
Okay.
also don't forget the people with disabilities.
Yes.
There's a group that meets right down the street once a month on Western Highway. It's Disability Partners.
Okay.
And they have a monthly potluck and activity. Sometimes they dance, sometimes they do yoga, sometimes they Zumba. They do different things, and they put out a newsletter every week. Once every month, I think. And so that might be.
That's great. I mean, that's one thing. People don't know that if they've been disabled for 2 years, 24 months before they turn 65 or anytime, they can go on disability with one of these supplement plans. So that helps a lot. Do you have a contact there? Or
I do, yeah.
So
I can't
maybe you
remember her
can
name right
email
now.
that to her. You two can converse on
Yeah.
emails. You can send Dr. James an email and he can follow up with you.
sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
send me an email for the Disability Partners coordinator.
Better. Okay, thank you.
She was in another BNI group. I think I can get in touch with somebody for you.
If she's in another group, that would also be helpful because I can do a cross chapter, meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be great.
Anyone
Thank you.
else for Ellen? We're right at about time, but if anybody's got any extra, let's last chance to offer because we got 10 minutes for each of you. Yes, Sally, I'll unmute you.
Okay, I did.
Go for it.
Ellen, maybe you could give a talk at one of these senior housing for 55 and over, because a lot of people there are not quite 65, but everybody always needs advice, especially on insurance. It's such a confusing thing. So maybe you can make a list of some of the places in town. There are several, and maybe you could just contact the manager there and see if you could talk.
That's a great idea. Thanks.
All right. Was that helpful, Ellen?
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. All right. Moving on. Next would be Betty Ann Brown as Elizabeth.
Oh, what do you want from me? Is it? I don't have.
So whatever you wrote down in the initial instructions from what we started, if you want to share what you've written, and then a specific question that you would like feedback or
well,
input on.
Well, the only thing I continue to think of is to get, it was a 5 to get at least that many returns a day done and out the door. I don't know how you can help me with that. It's just a matter of scheduling.
So if I heard you that you're completing 5 returns a day, that's your goal.
That's my goal. Yeah.
And where are
And
you at it now with it?
Well, probably at 3 and 4.
Okay.
It's corporations and partnerships. It's the entities that I'm having difficulty getting out the door. But I don't, most of the time it's because don't have complete information. So I'm trying to figure out a way to get clients to be more careful in answering the questions about what they need to give me.
Okay. So my first thought on that is anything that you can automate and prep similar to Dr. James up front to have them go through a checklist first. So everything you already know.
We have one.
Yeah. And ask them to complete that before they send it to you. So you don't have to ask for it.
Well, that's a problem. They usually ignore what they get and they don't fill it in. So that's, I don't know how you, I really don't know how you motivate them to fill out the organizers that I send out. I have the same problem with the personal returns. In December, when you think people were first getting ready to think about it, I upload all of my tailored organizers to my portal, and everybody gets an email linked to it. Most of people ignore it.
So what do you end up having to do to get the information you need? Asking piece by piece for what you need?
Sorting through what they end up giving me, and then emailing back and forth or telephoning back and forth to tell them what's missing and what we still need, or to ask questions about the confusing information that they did present.
Okay.
So if they use the organizers, a lot of that would have already been thought through by them. I got dogs in the background.
Mm-hmm. So do you end up doing that yourself, or have you have someone, an assistant who's doing that?
My assistant does it usually, but of course we have to confer about a lot of things because she's only here, well, this is her second year, but she doesn't have the background on each of these clients. So I still have to be involved in whether or not and how to contact them and so forth. We're automating as much as we can, but I still spend more time administering than I do actually getting those returns at the door.
Yeah, it sounds like a more detailed thing. I'd have to ask more questions to kind of dig into where the gaps are with that, but I hear you.
Yeah.
So, and that is a refinement process. If you already have an automated piece and it's just the hands-on, I'm not sure, maybe follow up with each person and send them the checklist again. So if you're sending them out in bulk, when they send it to you, just ask them to make sure they've already completed it. Other than having a well-trained assistant or maybe two that, and moving forward, I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, we're moving potentially in that direction. I mean, my practice has grown enough so that I needed to have a second CPA, which is Madeline, who's now here. But
one of the things I can think of is if you have a detailed form that's your checklist that they have to fill out and they have to check off every field and answer to submit to you before you'll even look at their stuff, then maybe that will give them the incentive to do it.
Yeah, probably not. Oh, come here. Pirate, come here. Excuse me, let me get a leash on this dog.
Anyway, anybody else have any ideas for Betty Ann? Why don't we move over to anyone else have any input for Betty Ann?
That was good, though. I agree with you. I'll think about those lists and see if we can get them people more used to interaction.
Yeah, and I would maybe, it's a very specific thing with taxes too. Might do some Google searching to see how other tax preparers handle that. Like, how do you get your people to turn your stuff in and see what's out there? I imagine you're not the only one challenged with that. Someone may even have figured it out, have a system or something.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. The firm that I used to work with before I went out on my own had a similar problem that I'm having and dealt with it basically the same way I am, which is the personal contact to get them to give you the right information.
Yeah. Yeah, and it may be just streamlining that. I'd have to see how you're organized around that and then streamline. try to automate it as much as possible, make a routine around it, you know?
Good point.
So, but I'd have to talk to you more. Anybody else before we keep moving to Sally? We do have a couple more minutes for Betty Ann, if anyone, Dr. J.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. Michelle did some research and found an email service called Hushmail, and I can design my own forms, and I can designate on the forms which fields are required before they can submit the email back to me. And most of the time, I don't have too many problems with patients leaving things out or not doing those. So that was a big help for me, because having people do it in the office in person, they could easily skip a whole backside of a page, or, you know, whatever they didn't feel like filling out, and just hand it in. And if my assistants didn't look at it, you know, I got half information or misinformation sometimes. So having those secure forms with required fields was really helpful for me.
That's a great idea, Dr. J. Could you email me the link, the website link?
Yeah, sure will.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Betty Ann, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I just Googled how to get clients to submit all their paperwork for taxes. And there's a whole bunch of good stuff here. The first one comes right from Intuit, their Tax Pro Center. It's like 6 ways to get your clients ready for tax return season. Onboarding and engagement steps for tax clients, serve your clients, tax prep checklist, which you may already have. So there's a few things here that might give us some ideas. I was wanting to see, like, similar to what I was just saying with like a form, if maybe there was like somebody had already built sort of like a tax prep portal that you have to log into, and where you digitally upload your paperwork or whatever that you could converse on. But I haven't seen that yet, but I was just seeing out there.
I have a secure portal, which was the intention of it. And
Yes.
more of my clients every year are actually using it. So that's a step in the positive direction.
Yeah. Well, I will send you, I'm gonna at least send you this Intuit Tax Pro Center article
Okay.
link, and you can check it out on your own time. It may give you a new idea or something for it.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yep,
it.
you got it. Because it looks like they have a pretty deep resources on client relationships, practice management, all kinds of stuff. So there might be some useful resources there.
I'm an Intuit Pro advisor, so
Well, there you go. So yeah,
I never have time to look at their stuff though.
Well, certainly this time of year, you're in the thick of it. This is something you probably want to be looking at this winter,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Cool. Yep. All right. Yeah, I would be looking at like, November, December as your time to like figure some of this stuff out and put it in place for coming up beginning of the year next year, building from there. Okay, Sally, you're in the hot seat, darling.
So, okay, I'm going to follow the formula that you gave us, like 10, what is your ideal 10 situation? And this is like my fantasy situation. I have a large, bright, high windowed studio space in an old barn with an 8-foot work table. That's my goal. And at the moment, I am in like a 4- because I'm in a small shared space, which is dark with no windows, but it does have heat and air conditioning. And at this point, I'm grateful at least that I have it. And my next milestone to get to a total 4 instead of 4- is I could probably put in some extra lighting in the ceiling, some additional lights so I can see better. And just to keep an open mind that my ideal situation will become a reality. And my question at the moment, and my problem at the moment, is how to build a bigger client base on a non-existing advertising budget. I do not advertise. I actually have never advertised. Everything for me has always been word of mouth and referrals. So that's it.
Thanks, Sally.
Website?
Who's
Website?
first?
Oh, me.
Yes,
You have a website, correct?
it's being built.
Okay.
Jennifer's doing a new one.
Okay, that's very helpful. I had Jeremy Ashburn do the what do you call it? The SEO work a couple of years ago. And
Uh-huh.
it's still working. I mean, the numbers, the letters, and excuse me, the words that we picked out are extremely effective in driving people to my site. And I actually get more and more inquiries that are serious through the site. I was afraid that they were going to be just price shoppers, but it's not turning out that way. So I would say website, for in your case especially, would be the best way to go with some SEO work.
Okay, thank you.
I know your business, so we know, I know the kind of materials and stuff that you work with. I don't know if Jennifer is doing that. Is she doing any video on your site?
No,
I'm just thinking that if people saw the detail that that you use, and or if you do show on your site kind of the samples, the types of samples that you have.
yes,
Variety. Yeah, it's hard because it's a very tactile.
it is. And the site, we're building it to be more like an online catalog as opposed to some of the other sites with a lot of moving parts.
And I do agree with that, working with Jeremy Ashburn, and also just really, I don't know if what Jennifer's doing, but really maybe even think about more about how getting business to your site from from what you say, your messaging in the site, in your site. Just about, I don't know, the kind of client that's good for you. Just more about very specifically who you're looking for.
You would put that in a website?
Somehow, I'm not saying you put it in a big list, but I mean, I just think that people need to know you do small quantities, that you allow them. I'm sure she's doing something like that, but I guess you have such a specialized business, really specialized business, that I think your market should jump out at you, that, who really is the perfect client for you, maybe even having pictures of what they would need and that you could do. Because I think what people are going to be very attracted, because your stuff is so beautiful, but they're not necessarily your best client.
Yeah.
So that's my only thought.
You never know where your next client is going to come from.
I don't mean you throw it away, but you know what I mean too.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ellen.
So the first thing I would suggest, Sally, is work with your existing pool of clients.
Mhm.
So be in regular communication with them, because what I was understanding you asking was, how can you do it with no budget? So SEO and websites are money. So
Well,
if it's
websites,
sweat equity.
I'm already committed to a
No,
website.
I'm just okay. No, but you were asking how I can generate business.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I would start with your existing clients, touch base with who you haven't touched base with in a while,
Mhm.
see how they're doing, getting ready for holiday season, or what their needs are, how they're doing. And then even asking them for referrals. So do you know anyone else who could use a similar product?
Mm, good.
And, introduce us. What would they be interested in and how could they use it? So talking to your existing clients who are really happy with you for business.
Mm.
And then similar to what Ellen was saying, and you and I talked about this before, even though you are in a very specialized business, you also do a lot of custom work, which leaves it open to interpretation, makes it hard for people to sometimes get a clear on what you're doing. So picking a specific bread and butter product that you know sells really well, that's really appealing, especially in BNI, like the pad folios, and really promoting those.
Mhm.
Like even in your 60 second, you got me saying 60 minutes now, Ellen. I could talk for 60 minutes. And I know it's even harder now that we're virtual, that, you know, you had a padfolio at every face-to-face meeting and you're passing it around while you're talking so everybody can see it and feel it and look at it and understand the benefits of it. And so, but having a bread and butter like we talked about and really promoting that, like putting it out there very specifically what the benefits of it are, everything, and having that be a bread and butter for you and be a lead generator to then the other things that you do from there. But you've got something that's creating consistent cash flow that sells well, that, you know, every BNI member could use, and then you're building from there.
Good.
I
Okay.
have another comment that when Damon was saying this, reminded me, you know, right now people are not going to be giving out stuff right away, you know, to their, but I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be thinking of spending money to do a portfolio until I know I can even go back to work.
Yeah,
So,
and I just had an idea along that. So I'm
yeah,
just
so
going
I
to
was thinking
piggyback
of
in, Ellen.
maybe even sending.
Hand sanitizer gift boxes.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Yeah, something like that would be fun to have in your office, and then giving us gifts to their clients.
And making them custom, like Jennifer's really cool masks, you know?
Yeah, and small. I mean, you don't have to make them big.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they have one that I have one that it's got like a little hook that I can put on my purse or my wallet or
Keychain.
something.
Yeah, like a little keychain
Yeah, so
size.
that when you take it out, I actually give it to vendors who don't like stores who don't have gloves on or something. I actually use it to put it on their hands. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. I was going to say something really small that relates to now, not just in the future, because people are not going to work and they're not necessarily seeing clients. They don't necessarily need their portfolio right now. So I was thinking of something else, a gift card or something that you could make that could be a Christmas card now that would really pay it, you know, because there's so many cards that everybody sends. Maybe there's something special you could offer that somebody send that really will stand out.
Well, especially for, you know, hands-on people who are getting ready to reopen, like Dr. James or massage therapists or Jeremy Noble, places where if they sent these out to their existing clients, a little gift box with a mask and a thing saying, "We miss you, come see us, we're prepared, here's yours," and putting it out there.
Yeah.
So Dr. James, there's an idea for you too, to invite your patients to come back with a little note in there and all the things that you're doing to make it safe for them to come visit you, and protocols with a little hand card in it.
Right. With the logo on the top.
Yeah.
Yep. And target the hands-on businesses that are opening.
Yeah, I was also going to say if you could come up with two things, one thing that wasn't as expensive, you know, one that was the box, and maybe one's is just a folder that has something in it that just something in it that would remind people, like a mask, for example, but not necessarily sanitizer, because you could put a mask flat, but so it might not cost as much as doing a box.
Make a deal with
people who are just opening, they may not have the money to do anything.
Make a deal with Jen Cusrow to package her masks that she makes.
Yeah.
Well, I think every $2 or $3 spent on something like that, inviting your customers to come in or make an appointment, will probably come back tenfold right now.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Top of the hour. Dr. J, do you got anything for Sally before we wrap it up today?
Yeah, I'd love to get some of those for my patients. I was just wondering what kind of, how you would plan on presenting that. I think that's a wonderful idea, though.
Well, why don't you guys brainstorm on that? What would be like the most cost affordable idea? I really do like Ellen's upgrade of like something simpler, like a card and a mask, that could be easily mailed. And if in it, but make it really, really nice. So a really nice card or presentation card that would have the mask in it. That's, something really handmade and shows that you care,
Mhm.
the logo and stuff on it.
Presentation folder with the mask inside.
Yeah, a folder. And it's got your protocol in there, so it's got what you're doing, what they should do.
Mhm, yeah,
hmm
sounds good. Sounds good, James, doesn't it?
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Okay,
All right, Sally, you got a winner.
I got a winner. Now I just have to get to work.
Yeah, because once you do that, you could offer it to anybody who's in the medical field.
That's right.
Or they need customers because they're essential workers. They could get people to come if it was the right thing. So that's
And
great.
even just starting with, who you already know that may be in those fields,
Yes.
who are either existing clients or BNI members. You could even talk to Lynette. She may know of the other chapters, and just making enough to get in their hands as opposed to people you don't know,
Mhm,
but existing clients, sending out a sample of that.
right.
That may be worth the money and time to do, a dozen or so of those and get you some orders.
Yes. I will definitely do it.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone. We're a few
Thank
minutes over.
you.
Hope you all got some wonderful value out of this. We're doing it every Monday.
Yes.
And love having you here. If you want to talk more and have time, let me know. Otherwise, we'll be back here next Monday.
Okay.
Thanks, Damon.
Can I ask you a question before we leave, Damon?
Yeah, anybody else who wants to leave, you can. I'm happy to talk to Sally for a minute, or you can stay.
This is about tomorrow's meeting. I
Yeah.
already input the data, the POMS data on whatever portal I found. I'm not sure if it was the right one.
Okay.
It was 511.
Yeah,
No,
I haven't
5. It was for 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. I'm not sure either then. You may not have inputted in the right. 511 was last week. We're at
Yes.
518.
Yes, this
So
is
that-
519, so I'm not sure which one I put it in.
Well,
It
511
doesn't,
was the most recent.
but I think that was the same one I put it in last week.
I don't know. I'll have to take a look, Sally.
Okay, so now that I'm more confident in putting it in, let me know. So if I have to change it, I'll change it to the correct port.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it might be prudent just to check with me before you go in, and make sure you're on the right one. If you're not sure, then after.
Okay,
That way we'll make sure. But
All
yes,
right.
I haven't updated the date on the deck yet.
okay,
Which thank you for reminding me, and I'll get that done right now. And then if you want to go back in and check.
okay. I will do
But
that.
I'm going to try and keep the same deck each week, and just redate it, potentially make a copy of it and redate it,
Mhm.
so that we have backups, because I don't want to have issues anymore with last
Yeah, that
minute
was kind
stuff.
of, yes, okay. Are we the only ones on this conversation, or is James still
Dr.
here?
J is still on.
No, I'm still here. I wanted to talk with you, Sally, when you're done.
Oh,
All right,
okay,
I'll let you guys talk.
yes, okay, I'll
I'm-
call you on the phone because I have another issue with the deck that I need to talk to you about, but I'll call you in about 5 minutes.
Okay, great. You guys go ahead. I'm going to leave the meeting.
Bye.
Bye. Sally, I'm going to assign you as host, so you need to end the meeting when you're done, okay?
How do I do that?
It'll just say leave or end the meeting at the end.
Oh, it just has a little